Okay, for those of you who are just joining in, so please you could follow. Well, you can follow us on our LinkedIn and our Twitter. Yeah, so the members of the team, you can also follow them on. You can follow us on our socials if you want. But the key thing is to follow us on our LinkedIn and our Twitter. Thank you for everyone who's just joining in. Our speaker is currently here. We're just going to wait for a few minutes for people to come in, and then we'll start the session.
Cool. Can you pause? Can you go to the next slide when I'm giving intro so people have some context? Yeah. Awesome. So we have Prabhu here. Prabhu is a close friend of mine, and we knew each other back like 2015. Uh, Prabhu right now is managing pricing as a senior manager in Thermo Fisher in pricing department. Um, he'll tell us more about that. But he has been in the healthcare space since 2014, like more than a decade. I think we can all learn a lot from pricing and how to convince your stakeholders from Prabhu. Uh, yeah, before that he worked at uh, GE and then did his MBA in University of Rochester. Feel free to follow Prabhu in LinkedIn, and for more detailed introduction, I'll hand it over to Prabhu. Prabhu also uh, he just had a newborn baby a couple of weeks back, so it's I really appreciate Prabhu for making time to talk to us and teach us all the new things.
Yeah, thanks, Sai. Thanks for that introduction. Yeah, thanks everyone. Right, shout out to everyone. Because as I mentioned a little bit, few minutes ago, right, on a Friday evening, very good enthusiast community with the intent of learning new things, right? That's first. I think first step. I think that's gonna make you guys the better and leaders in this new technology, right? Like, so that's pretty good. And kudos to Sai, Fanny, and Buka, right, putting this and crafting this boot camp, which is kind of it's an evolving technology, and you have to kind of have a lot of unknowns, right? You have to figure out a lot of things to do this together. Yeah, great job, and great job, guys. Right, like, so that's good. So thanks for Sai for the intro. Yeah, I'm originally from India, and kind of I'm electrical engineer by background. Started working with GE in India, and then I did couple of rotations in Mexico in a leadership program with GE that kind of spurned my interest in the management side. Okay, say, hey, business looks little good, a little interesting, so let me learn that, right? So I did my MBA in University of Rochester and in upstate New York here in US, and then been working with Thermo Fisher for the last 10 years, right? So Thermo Fisher, a bit about the company. It's a vital company. It's mostly in the B2B space, so a lot of you might not heard the name, but to kind of give a perspective, right? If sorry, 60 percentage of the all the COVID tests all over the world, right? Like the PCR test that we did during the COVID years, is done through the Thermo Fisher. So kind of give a perspective. So it kind of impacts all the entire stream of the healthcare, right? Like the drug we consume, the tests we do, like it's kind of in different places. So even surgical equipment for transplantation, like a lot of medical, healthcare, pharma research, drug manufacturing, vaccine research. So it's kind of touches all that entire stream. So it's very, very, very interesting to be in that business, and then like obviously pricing that. Yeah, on a personal side, yeah, been married. That Sai told that like we just had a newborn, so we have our hands full, but that's good times here, and allow running and watching skies when I have some free time. Yeah. So when it kind of joined the University of Rochester, I started learning about pricing as a discipline. So pricing, they have a course on pricing. So the pricing is a very interesting niche area of work, right? Like, so it kind of an intersection of marketing, sales, finance, everything. So it's very strategic and you have to be economic. At the same time, you have to be very good in the data. So that's kind of is prompting to the companies to have a pricing as a separate department. And so the big idea here is about like how we can find insights from the data to kind of sell the value to the company, value of any products to our customers, right? From the company to the customers. It's very important because I think whenever any company launches a new product, it's very very important to capture that value, economic value through it, so that you can keep making those future investments, and then that can bring more innovation, right? So that cycle is very important. So you have to kind of do this very meticulously. So in pricing, we have a lot of data that kind of like there's a customer transactions data, there's market data, and there's economic data. And we have to kind of put all these data together to derive insights. And with that, we can use price as an important lever to enhance the growth and profitability for the company. As a, like a survey from the McKinsey kind of showed that 1% improvement in pricing can give like 8 to 12% in operating margin or operating profit for the company. That's pretty huge. So to kind of bring that pricing into more, right, like what kind of things goes behind, I had a couple of charts. The first one is like we try to understand the willingness to pay of each of the customers and how much is the value that our product gives to the customers, so that we can effectively price. So that at the same time, the important thing is the product should offer value. You take some value and customer takes some value. So it's win-win for us and provides value for everyone. That's very important. And you see like a lot of subscription kind of pricing, right? That's a kind of I put in the below, right? More relevant for you guys who might have seen like good, better, best, any websites or software or things that you want to subscribe. You have like a free version that kind of gets you in and learn about this and understand the value. And then based on your interest, you can kind of subscribe the other versions. So there's a lot of modeling on the demand and behavior and goes behind the scenes to come to those price points. And this is getting more complex day by day. So we have to have a lot of different inputs to derive it. And also that outputs can be a lot of different ways, right? So the products gets complex, everything gets complex. There's a lot of options. So that kind of brings a lot of need for automation, right? How we can bring like sensible automation in the pricing that can help us to save time, right? Like at the same time, give the best price to the customers. That's kind of brings value to the customers at the same time, brings profitability and growth to the company. So from the previous slide, right, like we had challenges on delivering the right pricing to the right customer in the right time very effectively. So that's where we created some of the models. So it's kind of algorithms. It had like a lot of different metrics here. In case like it shows it is 60, but we had it a little bit more too. So it has a lot of different KPIs that helps us to identify the price. So the metrics, what I can say is, so how many you sell, right? How much you sell to whom, what, and so those are different kind of KPIs that we kind of take in this and try to build out this robust model that can help us to deliver this pricing insights in the point of sale, be it as like a website or a salesperson from the sales team talking to a customer, all right, like are different ways, right? So there are different ways, and even with our two different distribution channels, our channel partners. So anywhere when a customer interacts, we have to give them a good educated price that's kind of valuable and win-win for both us. So that's brought us a lot of automation into pricing. So we kind of have a lot of data, a lot of databases, and crunch the numbers, use models, and then kind of to come at those prices. But what is happening right now with the advent of AI is this kind of stuff is also getting more kind of complicated to the next level, right? So that's been always challenges in how we can improve these models to the next step, because there is so much we can do with the structured data, but there is now with the Gen AI, have a very good ways to work with the agents to synthesize the unstructured data and give some kind of inputs and walk across this workflow and help us to achieve that results, right? Optimize the price for growth and margin and profitability for the company. So when we started working on Gen AI a couple of years ago, yeah, the space is very evolving really fast. We kind of looked, and over the period of time, we tried to identify, okay, hey, we are a lot into modeling, how and working with the data, how our existing process can benefit from Gen AI and the automation, right? How we can make it faster and more productive, and at the same time, how we can improve the quality, right? Improve quality, improve speed, reduce cost, right? So that's kind of the lens we looked at. And we found like four kind of major areas we tried to categorize, right? We had a lot of use cases and tried to see, okay, hey, if we kind of put these use cases or proof of concepts together, how we can categorize them so that it kind of makes sense for us to see how it can fit into the workflow that I showed a little earlier. So starting from the data, right? So any modeling we need data, we work with the big data sets. And so the GenAI can help from that part itself, understanding the schemas better and working with the schemas to make the data and data governance better. That can have implications in the output of the models. And the second one is key one is the model inputs. Like I mentioned, there is 100 of different parameters from the unstructured data that we can use and give model inputs so that can give a good output for us. In the previous model, I will take a case, right? So we initially, our Thermo Fisher sells the products to a lot of research laboratories. We don't know what are the different researchers, the process of identifying, okay, this lab in this university works on these researchers, what are the things they might need. It was a little bit cumbersome, but now we have workflows that can like identify, scrape the websites to understand what are the papers they are publishing, depending on that, what are the research and tests they are doing, and compare that with what they are buying from us, and then see like what are the gaps, right? So that is a critical input that we use in our recommendations algorithms to kind of suggest new products to the customers to understand them better. So that kind of is a big thing, like helps to improve the customer experience a lot, help to experience a lot. So it's kind of still in pilot stages, but it's bringing in very good results. 3 and 4 are kind of like next level scenarios, a little bit more futuristic. So kind of have the agents to work together to kind of create a set of insights and give us like, okay, hey, I'm going to start working on this analysis in this data set. I'm going to start with very good, like 5 to 10 points that I can address, right? Then I can go and validate it and then take the business decisions to kind of improve it, right? Like how we can improve that scenario or solve it. Yeah, so all this kind of fits into that the workflow that I showed earlier, right? Like if you think about, I was trying to kind of get a simple data set together for this, but I thought that I would talk through it. When if, for example, you are querying a table with of a products, there is a revenue data and there is a customer data, how much we are selling to the customers, right? So what the GenAI can help us to kind of categorize. First, I was talking about creating the data dictionary, understand it, right? So what I was saying, these data sets that we work with had each of them have average of 100 rows, like kind of 10 different data sets. Then kind of that process becomes very cumbersome. So to govern this, like the data types, what does this means, how it is called, to arrange, and it can be called in different names in different tables, how you kind of get that schema together and organize that, right? That's kind of the first step. And then you kind of start drilling into the data, right? Then you add the model inputs, like I mentioned in the next previous slide, like, okay, hey, this is this macroeconomic and competitive data and other data about the customer that I can add from this existing database. And then I gonna ask a question to it, right? Like, hey, what are my top opportunities for growth if I am selling to this X customer? What are my top opportunities? What I can sell more? How I can improve my performance from with them from the last year? Then it's gonna give me like 10 insights. Like, okay, hey, they are buying based on these research. They are buying beakers from us, but not this product from us, right? Maybe they would need that product, so we can go and tell them. And historically seeing like, okay, whatever they bought, it's going down. They are buying less from us this year compared to last year. Can we go and explore it? So the sales team can, or somebody can go and follow up with them. Hey, what's happening? Why are you buying less from us? Is our price not good? Our service not good? Quality not good? What can we do to make it the experience better, right? Understand the scenario and do this. So basically, we all these things used to happen in some way previously, but how much we can do and how much opportunities we can find, how we can follow up, how much we can customize, just multiplied by multiple times these days. So that's kind of what we got from the impact of the Gen AI. So I talked about 4 parts, how the Gen AI can help the modeling, which is like there are some challenges also that we have in these areas that I try to kind of summarize the advantages and the disadvantages and challenges. So the biggest thing I would say is yeah, I can go by one and then summarize that. So in terms of like a lot of the existing processes of working with data sets is time consuming, cumbersome, takes a lot of time, and it kind of also have to train a people a lot of time to get to that stage where they can kind of really add value, and also delivering the results to them, right? All of this kind of takes time, build complex processes and stuff like that. But there's a scale of automation that comes into this. So that can help us to speed up everything. And we can, if you're doing 10 things right now, you can do 100 things right the next day. So that's kind of the impact of Gen AI here, like kind of adding boosters and turbocharge it and take it up on steroids. So that's kind of what's happening here. It's kind of everything is getting more efficient. That's a lot of risks here. So that's where we are kind of trying to figure out. The big one is you might have seen, right? A lot of other speakers talked about is the hallucinations and how we make sure these models can perform consistently, right? So that's been a big challenge always in this, right? Like, because in Gen AI itself, it's not really first doesn't think itself, right? So how we can we kind of have multiple agents working together, have statistical boundaries, right? Like having better prompts, applying statistical boundaries, and agents working together to kind of check and cross check and to do the analysis just limited to the data set, right? Like creating those boundaries really helps to improve, but having said that, still that is it's a challenge that we have to kind of get better at along the time, right? By working on the new methods and developing them and then tracking them, and that can help us to make these better. So based on what I have talked so far, we kind of have a couple of use cases that I want to go over. How these agents are helping, kind of like first I'm going to go to the process that I already explained in the pricing algorithm, and that's another one. So a couple of use cases to help to put in perspective how it can help, right? So in our initial price model or a price algorithm that I talked about, we had a lot of gaps in the sense that it's kind of more reactive than in the sense of like being more predictive, right? It used to be it's supposed to be a predictive model, but like 90% of the data is historic data, so it kind of doesn't have much to look forward to and get right at it. So, but with the advent of Gen AI agents, we have built agents. One of them is like to track the competition. Track the competition is, I can say very simple there, but there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. So you have competition's price, you have competition's product and their value proposition, and also their strategy. So you have to mine all these data, unstructured data, and then like do it periodically so that you kind of build a trend and see how things happen, right? So even if we take an example, a competition kind of launches the scenario right now, we have tariffs coming in, so our costs are going up. So somehow we have to cover for it to make the business profitable. At the same time, not pushing everything to the customers. How we can do that effectively? We're gonna have to look at like what's happening with the competition also, right? What is the value prop and stuff. So we kind of compared the periodic scrapes that we did and the summarization that we get out of the Gen AI helps us to do that. Hey, this is how the competition is performing. This is how much they've been increasing the prices or decreasing the prices. This is how they are playing, and we kind of try to compare that with us. So that's kind of a tremendous capability that's been there. And the next one was about the macroeconomic indicators, right? So there's kind of a lot of macroeconomic indicators from the publicly available data sets, like the inflation, and like there are easy, quick ones, and then like there are tough ones, right? Like that can help us to understand the market. Even in the healthcare, right? Like healthcare indices and the country's investments in the healthcare, right? There are a lot of different things that go into this. So we try to get better at adding those. Agents kind of trying to synthesize that and make it like a model input to our machine learning models that can help to fine tune the models and expand the boundaries of our recommendations and the ranges and get more better at it, right? More relevant when the sales teams talks to our customers, or when a customer comes and sees the prices in the web. It's kind of to make it relevant for them. So it's kind of we've been trying to do all this at a different, more methodological, cumbersome way, but it's kind of just accelerated the way we can do it, and then like the interpretations that we can have and the organization that we can have. So after kind of adding these things, right, at least like we don't have a complete set of results for a year or something to understand how is the impact, but we can at least already see the comments and feedback from the sales team and the customers, right? Like, hey, yeah, this kind of we have it like a little bit better now. It's improving. They kind of see that we kind of give a price point and give a range and try to kind of see and explain it when the customers sales team have the interactions with the customers. So kind of that making we so far we are getting like better feedback, and then it kind of helps us to make these customizations really. So for example, some like big customers, right, some big pharma companies can have $2 billion contract with us every year, $1 to $2 billion. There are a couple of big companies with that. We sell like 100,000 SKUs to them. So how to make it like better for them, right? Like that's very complex kind of scenario. We have to kind of model it out and see like how are the values that we are offering to the customers and how we can do that for everyone, all the kind of a big customers. So those kind of complex scenario building, kind of helping those customizations that we can do for each of those customers kind of is we are trying to improve that also through this going forward so that we can have a better business outcomes. So that's number one. Yeah, I think we are okay on time. So I will go to the next scenario. So this scenario is like
we are okay on time. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the second scenario is about the customer relationship management tool. So we use Salesforce.com as a kind of a tool. Salesforce.com is a platform where our sales team, the lot of products that Thermo Fisher sells, not all of them can be sold through the website. So we do have a salespersons going and talking to the customers because the average selling price of those products, and it would be anywhere between like $40,000-$50,000 to $1 million. So those kind of big ticket purchases, you might see the people surfing on the web to understand it, but the real purchase happens after they talk to somebody in the team. So to manage that, we have customer relationship management softwares. One of them is called Salesforce.com. That is a platform where all of our sales team members, they log in their opportunities, right? Like, hey, I'm talking with this customer, they want this product, they want this numbers, and this is how much we're going to offer them, and this is their history. Like we know if we take a customer, then like we have a history, right? How much they bought from us last year and things like that. So that's if they go on, they go and have a lot of these discussions. They talk to them over the phone or go and visit them. When they do that, they need a lot of information to be ready to talk to them, right? To kind of make a sale and convert a sale. For that, like they want what they bought from us, like the transactional data, right? Like how much they've been buying from us and what's happening there, and what is their strategy, or what is their funding, or whatever, how much they are investing, how they are performing, right? Like what is happening in their end, and what are the offerings, what are they buying from us, and then what are they not buying from us, or whatever they're buying from us is going up or not, how are they doing financially, and how is their decision makers aligned, what are the things that kind of help them with the decisions and stuff. So to get to these insights and to have a very meaningful conversation with the customers to understand the requirements and at the same time offer the better solutions to them, they have to prepare a lot, right? Like they before going into this, right? Like, hey, they kind of prepare or they kind of pull all this data. They don't have a lot of them, all the data always. They will have partial data. Only they will try to talk to the customers based on the data they have, but it's always never been like a total complete because the more data is definitely going to help them to convert and understand the customers better. So for this, we had few agents to working on it to kind of give more insights to the customers, right? Like so in the customer relationship management platform, when we go and check on this, right? Like we have different tabs and they can show like, okay, in this case, okay, this is the customer. This is what they are trying to do. This is how much they are buying. They are in the news recently for this, and they are raising funds and stuff, and they're gonna invest. This is what they're gonna talk about, right? Okay, understand it. That's very good. So then the data and insights is gonna give me how much they are buying, what is their potential, buying value, how much they can have to buy from us based on all the other data, whatever they are buying from in our portfolio products, and then try to understand if they are trying to buy from competition or things like that, right? Like how much, if they are not buying things from us, but they definitely need things, they should be buying from somewhere else. So what's happening there? How we can make an offer or bring that into the conversations. Hey, you are not buying based on what we see. You need this product X, but you're not buying it from us. Probably, do you have better options, or kind of trying to see like how you can increase your value offering to the customers. So basically, it's kind of at a fingertip, tries to equip the sales team with a lot of data so that when they go and talk to the customers, they can be the talk conversations can be very targeted, and if customer asks for something, they can really make a quotation or an offering right in the front of them and deliver them a right price to them, right? So that's kind of the objective that it can help with. Yeah, so I think both of this is kind of, we are having good feedback on them, trying to, these definitely increases the conversions and stuff. We don't have a concrete metric on it, but it kind of makes our teams more productive, do more, and do more with the right quality and very good way, so that the offerings are better for the customer. So that's definitely, we are seeing those improvements based on these two use cases. Yeah, I think to kind of sum up, I think this field or these agents or the Gen AI itself, right? I think they can do, it can help to do a lot of stuff. And I see it's a right time, right? Every company and every person has to get using with I think a lot of people say, right, Gen AI is not going to replace jobs. Probably people who know Gen AI is going to replace who don't know Gen AI, right? Like, so I think that's kind of brings to us to the conclusions, right? Like, yeah, I think you guys been like doing really well what you've been trying to do. So yeah, keep it up and learn the stuff. And yeah, I think there's no limit. There's a lot of potential for this.
Awesome. Yeah, people, if you have any questions, this is a good time to start typing them in the QA box. We have some questions from the Discord DMs as well. Like, I'll start asking, but before that, I have some couple of questions of my own. So Prabhu, you mentioned that in the first you have like the pricing prediction pipeline. How often do you How many times do you run it, let's say in a day or in a week? And uh, yeah, so you have different products, different customers, different times you want to predict the price. How often do you run this model usually?
Yeah. So that's a good one. So we run we have these engines for different businesses. Kind of like we run it different frequencies, but I think on an average weekly is pretty good.
Okay,
So sometimes teams ask for, hey, I want to run it daily. I don't think it's like, sometimes it's like watching the grass grow. You might not see the trends changing that much in a day. So weekly is pretty good cadence. We usually run it weekly. All of them definitely run weekly. Some of them run daily, but I don't think that kind of.
so weekly you will predict for every customer, every product.
So weekly, we kind of predict for a set of products and set of customers, products and customers, right? Like depending on their
Got it.
sizes and their sensitivities. So we can kind of that guidelines. We have a kind of a guidelines and the ranges depending on the customer sizes and customers' behaviors. They're gonna pull that relevant data points. So yeah, it's not
Got it.
one for each customers, but kind of range of customers, range of products, so that we can pull
Oh,
different combinations. Yeah.
got it. Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Yeah. And since you're running this weekly, some of these can be time consuming as well. Like some of them can, like it's not time sensitive, so you can inject Gen AI without thinking about, like it can
Yeah,
take an hour, go through Twitter, and then find
yeah,
a relevant
yeah.
context for you.
Yeah. I think those agents, that's right. So those things, right? Like the big engine runs weekly, but some of the inputs, right? So we are still not
Yeah,
sure how frequent we have to run. But Twitter, yeah, you're right. Like weekly, definitely, right? Like that kind of helps us to in terms of running on both. But some data, right? Like we do want it run. Some of our products are depending on like depends on oil prices sometimes. So those things we have to kind of have a kind of a daily cadence and stuff like that. So we are trying to figure out that, but generally the weekly things makes it easy for us to kind of like that's been not a big constraint for us right now. Yeah.
got it. We have one question from Pascal. The question is about uh, for predictive applications, right? People have started, uh, we have been using traditional machine learning models, and graph-based models is one of them. And it's but right now, like since these traditional models need a lot of data to train, people have sometimes started using Gen AI for predicting price directly, right? What is your opinion on that? Uh, yeah,
Yeah. So I think that that is kind of a separate stream, kind of trying to get the Gen AI better in creating those synthetic data sets, right? Whatever it is that can help us to do this. But I think it is a little bit early at this time to kind of, if it is, if you're depending on like just 3 to 4 parameters, right? And which you can kind of, you have a human in the loop to validate and try and things like that, very simple stuff. You don't have to worry much, but it kind of like once the complexity gets bigger, like the scale of algorithms that I was talking about, I think we found that like creating those dummy data sets or synthetic data sets has some issues. We haven't gone really good at it, like to kind of help this use that to train the data. That's we tried a couple of times, but not a big fan of that, and didn't give the yield the results. But hear that like that's kind of an evolving discipline that can help us in the future. But I think we are in the early stages, and we are not doing it in the production right now for sure. Yeah.
yeah, makes sense. I'll second that as well. For mission critical applications, I think people will keep using traditional models where you know that this will produce this output, at least approximately. With LLMs, it's not that kind of determinism or guarantees we have not
Yeah.
established, or it's not possible yet. Uh, w- but there are like hybrid workflows, like what Prabhu showed us, that you have LLMs that gives you some sort of insights that you won't be able to get from your from the traditional tabular features, and you
Yeah.
use that in your machine learning model to augment. Uh, yeah, awesome. And another question, this is a slightly high level question, Prabhu. According to you, what are the big mistakes a company can make when adopting agents? I think here we can maybe expand to say it's not just agents, like LLM application, LLM capabilities in the company, both for internal facing products as well as like external facing products.
No, I think that's a good one. That's very challenging also, right? Like we have a tons of items in the proof of concept stage, but very few items in the production stage. So that is in both ends. So that kind of shows, right? Like what are the pitfalls are. So and I think that I think it's kind of those developing those methodologies that where how you kind of gonna validate that outcomes so that it's production ready. Either have, I don't know, if you're having a human in the loop or even by developing the methods and boundaries with the prompt engineering and the statistical methods. That's what we've been doing in our side so that it kind of so the applications are production ready. But the challenge is that, right, like there's a lot of buzz about this technology in general, like, hey, it's going to change this, and there's a lot of enthusiasm, and everybody is looking, right, like want the results right now, right? Which is, I don't think that's going to take a little bit more time in, at least in the data space. But in terms of like the software engineering, coding, and like other places, right? Development and customer service and stuff. What I would suggest is, like, instead of pointing to, hey, this tool can't do this, right? Instead of that, how you can make it to do, or like how with a human, how you can enable and make the process better, right? Underestimating that capabilities can be an issue. At the same time, overestimating the capabilities could be an issue too. So developing the processes for validations for yourselves as a company, right? Like how you going to make it, that's, I think, the biggest challenge. That then legals comes in, they kind of put all the brakes, right? Oh, you can do this, you can do that. Like then it kind of happens. So how you kind of build that process to kind of make your proof of concepts into production. So I think that's kind of the big one, right? How are the validations,
Yeah.
approvals, how you judge it, right? Like then you put it. I think that's the biggest challenge for all the companies right now, and even for Thermo Fisher. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, validation as well as like having so fortunately or unfortunately, the LLM technology has evolved so much that you don't need machine learning degree or training to uh, do machine learning now. It's an API call,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it accelerated a lot of like ML development, but at the same time, people don't understand or appreciate the complexity behind it. People think LLM is a magic bullet. You can solve all problems based on two, three examples, right? And there are a lot of like stories from Air Canada. There was a customer service incident where the LLM said wrong policy to a customer, and the customer sued Air Canada and then got a like a uh, payment back. And there are a lot of these things keep happening. And there was another incident where they used agents in a financial analysis, and the agent somehow thought the people were doing fraud inside their own company, and then escalated that to the government agencies as a blower, right? I mean, maybe it's a feature, but not a bug. But uh, yeah, you need to understand and have sufficient guardrails, safeguards in place. As well as another thing is like there are still a lot of skepticism around the technology, rightfully so. So you shouldn't think like based on few examples, okay, this
Yeah,
is going to work, and then you pitch it
yeah,
to your higher
yeah,
up, and then when it doesn't work, the entire LLM initiative gets killed off, right?
yeah,
So that
yeah,
is another thing you have to be careful about, just appreciating the complexity
yeah.
um, behind it.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And we have a question from Varshini. The question is about, I think, more of like your internal company documentation stuff. So how do you keep your analysis, like when you're making this uh, decision making models and stuff, so that when the company like Thermo Fisher has a rich history, GE has even bigger history. How does that keep maintaining as people changed roles and stuff? Like, do you have anything specific for it, or does that happen organically?
No, I think that is the standard operating, there is operating procedures and stuff like that, right? Like, so all our regular processes and projects and things like that are pretty decently documented, and it's in the like different ways, like in Slack or in different places that you can find the OneNote. We use pretty heavily to do that, because to document everything, but we have all the steps, right? Who does, where to pick, which server data, things like that. Each model has those documentation built up. That documentation really helps a lot with the Gen AI, right? Like when you create those
Yeah,
prompts engineering, and when you do the RAG, right? Like that's kind of, I seen a couple of departments who are not doing that, even though, like, because of that they had some right now they are a little bit behind in the sense like they should be doing this Gen AI stuff because they don't have a good documentation but process that kind of help making them not like realize some of the results they wanted to do. So obviously, yeah, there is different ways to document this. To answer your question, Vashni, like OneNote on different places, we kind of have keep track of everything that we have whenever we make the changes. And then like if right, GitHub is another thing to kind of help with the codes and stuff and non-code stuff. We kind of do everything. And then these documentation really helped a little bit for us in our racks and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Awesome. Another question from Pascal. So Thermo Fisher likely works on different areas, different diverse areas, data sets and stuff. How do you design agents that generalize across different forms, scales, and quality requirements?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a challenge, right? Like a little bit because the businesses that we've been working, it's kind of a lot of different companies within a company. So that's kind of what we have right now. So I think so far our models and agents are kind of business specific, right? Like so it's kind of okay for this business, this division, that is the agent. The agent we are developing, the models that we are developing are working in that kind of scenarios right now. But we've been talking about MCP setting up they've been setting up the MCP servers and stuff that can help us to kind of scale this, right? Like whatever we are building for each divisions to kind of generalize that across for the entire company so that they can take the best practices from here and we can take the best practices if somebody else develops and things like that. So the context is there, but we are still not there at so from a Thermo Fisher side, but we are still trying to evolve there. Yeah. But I think
Yeah.
Probably Sai, you can add, right? Like you see any
Yeah.
latest tech here that helps here?
Yeah. I think we should not make generalizable agents. We should focus on building agents for specific applications. Uh, and it's much easier because individual teams are focusing on certain things and they have their own documentation, and the same word might mean different things in
Yeah.
two different contexts. So I think a good, at least in the next 2 years, a good starting point is like building specific agents, make it work, then try to make it
Yeah.
generalizable.
Yeah. That's where you focus right now. Yeah. Not we are thinking beyond that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. uh, but it's a good thing to aspire to. And the second part of the question from Paschal is, do you see AI agents as an assistant or augmenting humans, or are there cases where they generate insights or other documents end to end? If so, how do you manage accountability in each scenario?
Yeah, I think definitely it's going to be augmentation, right? How I think we've been discussing a little bit that, like, so our groups has analyst, right? So how in the future, fast forward, right, 3 years or 2 years, I don't know, there's going to be a virtual analyst for each of that person. That's kind of we are trying to think and model so that like, okay, Prabhu, that's the analyst copy for me, right? That's gonna do things what I do and trying to go and run jobs for me, try to do and automate a lot of things for me, and then I can so that I can spend in time in kind of like doing taking the analysis and then like communicating it really what adds value to the company, right? Bringing the insights and decisions for right. So I think that's definitely going to happen, but the accountability is like is a tricky one. I don't know. We haven't kind of think. Like, I will go back to our initial things on like putting the boundaries and making it very clear and testing it like in multiple ways back and forth definitely can help. So like have multiple agents to maybe an agent to validate it, right? Like and set up the good boundaries and testing it enough times before you kind of push everything. But we haven't tested anything like it right now, like augment like kind of an assistant or an analyst for each one. But definitely that's going to come, but we have to kind of develop these methods to validate them and make sure and also right like whenever at least for now, right, key decision areas where it's going to make changes, I would love to have a human there for some time make changes in the codes or approve something or things like that. I would like to have somebody in the human in the loop right now to understand before we are confident those validating agents can 100% do it, right? Like some, but I don't know if you'll get how we'll get to it, but kind of like
At
those
least,
mission
at least
critical
when
stuff.
things can, at least when things go wrong, you have someone to blame.
Yeah. Yeah, but my agent did it, right? Like, if it is
Cool.
good, I did it. Mhm.
We have a couple of questions. These are more general ML questions. How can we build machine learning models using less data and resources? I think maybe I can take a first shot at these answers.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I would say start with something that's publicly available or a good starting point already, like LLMs or like let's say you're building some ML model and you can process all your input data into a certain set of features that are smaller and more informative. That will help achieve that less data and resource part. The next part of the question is how can we build agents using model fine tuning and RAG implementation? Which approach is better? Uh, yeah, there are several frameworks for building agents using RAG implementation, and right now, based on the there are several tools from a lot of companies out there, and it's becoming easier. And we'll do that going forward in the bootcamp as well. And for model fine tuning, I would say that is less preferable mainly because it needs a lot of expertise to build to fine tune a model. You need data that consumes a lot of time as well. So maybe start with RAG implementation or just a simple implementation, then add RAG on top of it,
Yeah.
then add feedback loops. Only when you are not able to further improve performance or you have access to some sort of computation resource or like data set, I'll then look at model fine tuning.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
awesome. Cool. I think we are at time. And yes, so yeah, nothing more from me. We can if you people guys have any questions, post them in the Discord or send uh a follow request to Prabhu, and then you can ping
Yeah.
him directly in
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Since he has agents, now he has a lot of free time. So yeah, that's how he's taking care of his baby now. So we can,
I
yeah,
wish, I wish.
awesome,
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
awesome.
Yeah,
Talk
thank you
later,
so much.
Prabhu. And book, if any, do you guys have any final closing comments?
Yeah, so Prabhu, as always, thank you once again for coming. Um, like as I said, you met us when about less than 100. Now I'm more than 1,000. Definitely we're going to ask you to come again. And I hope that next time you come, we'll probably like a more than 10,000, maybe 100,000. Who knows? Honestly, because we have to keep growing. And but thank you. This was so
Sure.
insightful.
There's potential.
Yeah, we're definitely going to send you feedback. As I said, we're going to have this call more. Me, you, and Sai, and if we could just catch up, so they can rate things like that.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for the opportunity. I wish you guys best. Yep.
Thank
Cool. I'll drop as well. Talk to you guys later.